What is up? What's good? What's going on? How you doing? How you been? I hope you're doing well. Air conditioner's on. Sorry about that. It's 80 degrees in the room. I just got home. Uh, Man, so much to talk about. I'm tired. I want to go to bed, but um, I'm not really ready to go to bed yet. So I figured I'd make a video, and then by the time I get done with the video, I'll be ready to go to bed. So I just got home from orientation at Landstar. 2 day orientation. My goodness, it was cram packed. Like, we didn't really quit on time. Orientation ran late. I ended up getting out of there about 5:30 and drove straight home. Pretty much everybody else went back to the hotel to stay the night because almost everyone else, if not everyone else, I'm not sure if everyone, I'm thinking most, if not everyone, drove their truck there. I think I was the only one that drove a personal vehicle. Um, so they couldn't, well, they might have been able to. Basically, while they were in class throughout the day, um, they would have been using their hours. So, uh, they basically went back to the hotel to stay another night so that they would, they probably all needed to take a 10 anyway. So, anyway, my goodness, I don't even know what to say. What I'll do is instead of looking at my sexiness, I will have the load board in the background, and I'll just kind of slowly scroll through it and browse loads and stuff while I'm talking about what happened in orientation. So before I talk about what happened in orientation, let me just give you a brief rundown of my day summary, and then I'll talk about the details. So went to orientation this morning, of course. I got there like an hour and a half early, like I always do, and sat around and chatted with people and did various, just hung out. And then we had class throughout the day, and then at the end of class, I left and just drove. I checked out of the hotel in the morning before I went to class, so I just went straight from class to my car and drove back to Oklahoma City. I didn't drive straight to my house. I drove to the drop yard where I park my tractor, because like I said in the last video, the director of the owner, operator, and brokerage fleets or company at USA Truck, Brandon, told me they really needed my equipment back so they could use it with other drivers, and they were in a rush to get it. So I needed to get the ELD and everything out of the truck. So, and I also needed to get my ELD installed in the truck because I didn't have somebody install the ELD like everybody else did. I was like, I'll install it myself. It looks like it's really easy to install. And it was supposed to be the Keep Trucking ELD, which is really easy to install. The Keep Trucking ELD is really, really easy to install. Well, we ended up not doing Keep Trucking, and I didn't really do any research on installing OmniTrack. So I didn't realize how difficult OmniTrack was going to be. It ended up not being that bad, but let me finish summarizing. So I stopped at the drop yard when I got to Oklahoma City, and instead of going to my house, I went to the drop yard first because it was on the way. And I went through the process of uninstalling the old ELD, installing the new ELD, removing the plates from my truck, the license plates, and the toll transponder. And what else did I do? I think that was pretty much it. You know, of course, installed the new ELD. I was there for about 3.5 hours from... It's 12:36 a.m. right now, and I pretty much started this video within 5 minutes of getting home. And I think I have my Landstar license plates. You know what? Let me pause this video and come back. Let me go grab them. All right, I'm back. I'm pretty sure it's the license plates. I mean, kind of feels like a license plate's in there. The size, about the size of a license plate. If it's a bag full of money, then we'll both be surprised. All right, let's see what this is. It's probably some spam marketing crap. Somebody wanting me to give them money or something. Oh yeah. Is this AT&T? Yep. They're starting to hide their logo. Like it's not even easy to see their logo. And they're hiding it on the envelope and everything. Now they're just trying to trick people into opening these things, because if I see AT&T on the outside of the envelope, it just goes straight to the trash. All right. AT&T is one of the worst about harassing you with marketing and advertisements and stuff. There's a few companies that do door-to-door sales in my neighborhood, and AT&T is probably one of the absolute worst. I yelled and screamed at them before and told them to get the hell off my property. Alright, what do we got here? Okay, so here's my cab card. I had my temporary cab card. Here's my real one. Statement of lease receipt for equipment. And what's this? They screwed up on my company name on this. I'm just checking to see if my company name is on here and if they put it in correctly. Company name is correct here. And the name of the registrant is Landstar Inway Incorporated. They don't have any of my information. Oh wait, there it is. Owner name, Sibster LLC. So they got it correct there. They just misspelled it over here. This looks like a receipt. But they're going to take it out of my settlement, so I'll use the settlement as a receipt. There's my plate. Yay. They have pretty cool looking plates. So, yeah, that's pretty nice. We're getting legit, man. I got an ELD. I got license plates. I got real registration. I haven't stickered the truck up yet. I need to take my heat gun over there and get the old stickers off. and put the new ones on. Putting the new ones on is going to be really easy. But man, almost every one of these loads coming out of Joplin, Missouri, it's that one place that you have to leave the trailer for 24 hours to be loaded or unloaded. You drop the trailer off and come back 24 hours later and pick it up. So anyway, I got there to do the ELD stuff, and what I was expecting was where I pull the dash up, there's a little gray plug there, and that's what the Keep Trucking plugs into. It's so super easy. If you watch a YouTube on installing Keep Trucking, it's so incredibly easy. Well, most of the other ELDs plug into your OBD connector, and it's a pain in the ass to run the cable through the dash from your OBD connector. Well, the OmniTrack that I got was one of those that you hook up directly to the OBD connector. So it took me a little while to figure out like how to install it. I was like, man, did I get the wrong cable? Because the instructions that I had to install it had me plugging into the little gray connector just exactly like Keep Trucking. Well, the reason the instructions I got were exactly like Keep Trucking is because they were Keep Trucking installation instructions. It took me longer than I want to admit to figure that out. But once I figured that out, then I went and started looking online for instructions on how to install the OmniTrack. Now, here's the deal with the OmniTrack. The OmniTrack cable has the OBD connector, then it has an alternate ODB outlet because you're using the main connector, so it replaces your plug, your outlet. Then there's another weird plug, and then I think there's one other plug, and then there's just a whole bunch of loose wires that you splice into stuff. I thought all of those things were going to be used, so I was like, wow, this is way more complicated than I thought it was going to be. I thought I'd just plug it into the OBD connector or the gray connector, and that was it. I thought that was going to be the end of it. And that was not the end of it. Yeah, it's just, it was a lot more involved than I thought initially. That when I saw that, all those cables, that's what I thought. And I spent an hour and a half or something going around and trying to figure out how to install it. And what I finally ended up doing, I was like, you know what? I can't find any detailed instructions online anywhere. So why don't I just plug in the OBD connector and plug it into the ELD, just plug just the OBD connector and forget all the other plugs on the wire and see if it works. Because those other plugs might be for alternate installations. So I went ahead and did that, and sure enough, it worked. Everything on it worked. So I was like, okay, I just need the OBD connector. I don't need all the rest of this crap. So now I have to figure out how I'm going to run the line. I watched some supposedly professional installations where okay, let me bring this back over to my fat head. So the OBD connector in my 2016 Volvo is, okay, if I'm sitting in the driver's seat, it's to my left, down, and it's down at the, what the hell is that? There's a footrest over to the left. So you have the fuel pedal, or the throttle, and then the brake pedal, and then you have a place where you can just rest your foot over to the left. Above that is where my OBD connector is at. I saw some people claiming to be professionals on YouTube that basically just took the line, they plugged in the OBD connector, and then they took the line and just ran it alongside the dash, in between the dash and the door, on the outside of the dash, and then ran it over the top, and then across the front of your windshield over to the center where the ELD was mounted. That is ghetto as hell. That's some shit that somebody like me would do. If I'm going to pay a professional to install it, I expect it to, like, the wires run in the dash, not like, you know, push it back behind the throttle or brake pedal, or you know, just run it along the windshield or some shit like that. That's some ghetto shit. So I sat there and I got to thinking. I was like, you know what? I watched a video where someone actually ran the cables behind the dash, and I was like, you know what? That doesn't look too terribly involved. It looks a lot easier than what I thought it would be. So I was like, you know what? This is going to be in here for a while. If I run it, you know, ghetto style, outside the dash, down the windshield and stuff like that, I could have issues with the wire overheating because of direct sunlight on my windshield and the greenhouse effect. Also with my ventilation that's blowing right there with the cable running across the defroster, basically. I could have temperature issues with the cable that could cause other issues. There's just a whole bunch of potential problems. Plus, it just looks ghetto as hell. And I could probably, I would have more likelihood of damaging or crimping the cable or something like that and having to replace it. So like, you know what? Let's just do it the right way. So I started taking the dash apart, and that's mainly what took the 3.5 hours. It was about an hour to an hour and a half before I figured out how I was going to do it. And then another 2 hours was spent actually doing it. And I ran the cable through the dash, and it's all professional, looking good. And we got it all done, and ELD seems to be working great. It seems like a nice little ELD. I can't log into it yet. You have to let the ELD run for, they said 20 minutes. Turn your truck on with the ELD on for at least 20 minutes to get it activated. And then the following day after you do that, some people at Landstar will send you an email with a username and password to log into it. I'm hoping it's not going to be a pain in the ass to take this ELD to another company. Because I don't have the account to manage the ELD. I don't know, I'm a little, let's not talk about that. That's another conversation. But anyway, they said that you'll get the username and password the day after you run it for 20 minutes. So while I was taking the dash apart, I left the ELD plugged in, and I left the truck running the entire time I was taking the dash apart. And so it's definitely run for over 20 minutes. So I should get an email tomorrow with my username and password to log into it, and I'll be able to see what it's like to use the OmniTrack ELD. So let's go back and talk about so yeah, I got all this stuff. I uninstalled the old ELD, installed the new ELD, and removed the tags, the license plate, removed the toll transponder. I got all that crap in a box. I got my permit book somewhere. Oh, it's in that same box. And I need to print out the UPS label that they've already sent me. They sent me a UPS label earlier today. I need to print that out, and then tomorrow drive over and drop it off at a UPS store near my house and get that over to them. So what happened in orientation? Orientation was basically a waste of time today. There were a few things that we went over that were pretty nice. I'll talk about fuel discounts here in a second. I'm going to show you some stuff. And tire discounts. I'm going to talk about fuel and tire discounts. Landstar's got some awesome discounts. What the hell was I saying? Man, I got sidetracked. I got thinking about discounts. I was like, man, it's time to go shopping. It's on sale. So there were a few things that we did in orientation today that were nice, useful, kind of cool type stuff. But really, it was really basic, common sense stuff. So let me flip back over to the load board. I bet that any one of you watching this video, if you were to log in and look at the load board, it's self-explanatory. It's it's a very functional user interface, and it's kind of just, it's common sense type stuff on how to use the load board. And we spent an incredible amount of time going over the load board and how to use it. Way more time than we should have. And what really kind of upset me a little bit was that the more complicated things that you can do with the load board and stuff like that, we didn't really talk about any of that stuff. It was just how to do the basics. It was just like explaining the basics of the load board. They went over most of the features of the load board. And some of the things that weren't really common sense, like the COD deliveries and the driver pickup deliveries, or driver collect deliveries. I asked about those, and I didn't get a very good explanation as to what those were. I was like, what are we collecting? What does the driver collect? And they're like, well, yeah, sometimes you'll do that. You're collecting money, apparently. And I don't know what a check on delivery load is. A COD load. I don't know what the difference between a driver collect and a COD is. But those are options that you can filter by. So I guess if I ever come across them, I'll have to ask somebody else. It was just so... Mainly, there were two things that we did today in orientation. I felt like today's orientation was a huge waste of time. Most of the day was spent talking about how to pick good loads, how to like put a solid week together. And the other topic was how to run a business. How to run a business and how to pick loads. Those were the two things that we talked about on day 2 of orientation. Now, some of the people in the class, maybe day 2 was the most amazing orientation they ever had. But for me, it was completely worthless. It was really basic common sense type shit. Like, okay, my personal take on it is that I partnered up with Landstar. I need to know how to do business with Landstar. I don't need an orientation that tells me how to run my business. and that's what today's orientation was telling me how to run my business, how to pick loads, as in not like how to like pick them on the load board, like how the process. No, it was like, how do you tell what's a good load? Pays a lot of damn money. Now, the information that they gave was good. It's a lot of the same stuff that I talk about in my videos. There's a lot of things that I take into consideration when I'm picking a load. You can't just look at the total amount of money of a load. You can't just look at the rate per mile. You can't just look at the number of days on the load. You can't just look at the mileage. You have to take everything into consideration. And one of the big things that I judge loads based upon is how much I make per day on the load. And Landstar has basically the same philosophy I do to load picking. You know, that at its core, at its fundamental, my like decisions on loads are based on how much I make per day on the load. Now, if I feel like taking some time off and the load has 2 extra days on it and I'm going to have the weekend off so I can play video games and I actually feel like doing that, then whenever I'm deciding on that load, I won't count those 2 days that I'm actually going to be taking off. But if I'm going to be sitting there just waiting and I don't want to be waiting, then yeah, that's going to count toward that time. It depends on how I'm going to use that free time. But yeah, those were basically and it was a whole bunch of, you know, you have to make what's the great secret to having a successful business? Well, you have to make more money than you spend. It was like 3 or 4 hours of them explaining you have to make more money than you spend, and they were just trying various different ways to explain that to people and to try to get people to understand that there are a lot more expenses in this business than what they're probably aware of or accounting for. Which is, you know, that's something that the reason I probably felt like today was a waste of time was because it was like listening to myself on my YouTube videos. That's what the whole day was like listening to my damn YouTube videos where I'm sitting here talking about, you know, there's all these people out here that think that their operating cost is like 50 cents a mile or 60 cents a mile or something like that because they're not taking everything into consideration. You know, they were trying to explain those concepts to people in class today. And they were trying to explain how to really tell how much money you're making on a load and stuff like that. And they had a little exercise, and I felt really good about the exercise because they had a little exercise where everybody picked 3 real loads off of the load board that you could actually make the pickup and delivery times on, and put them together and figure out what kind of week you would have. And I ended up having the best week. As far as revenue per day, I was making $13.75 per day, and I think the next closest person to me made just over $1,000 per day. So yeah, I picked out some decent loads. They weren't even that great. It was a 6-day week, and I made $8,200 on the week in this theoretical exercise. So it was an $8,200 week, and it was with real loads on the load board that I could actually run. They're probably all still on the load board right now, and they don't pick up until next week. I don't think. I think let me see here. These loads right here. Yeah, it's this one. Actually, it does. It picks up tomorrow. I can't do this. This was my first load in the run. Was this Joplin, Missouri to Stowe, Ohio, 200-mile deadhead from Oklahoma City to pick this up, and then it's a one-day run. Pick it up on the 8th, deliver it on the 9th. $4,200 for 824 miles. It's paying $5 a mile for 30,000 pounds of general goods. There was another load that was going from it was like a 50 or 60 mile deadhead to grab a load going to Davenport, Florida, that was paying like $5,000, and it was like 1,000 miles or something, and it was like 2 days on that load. And then from Davenport, Florida, I was going to deadhead 350 miles and pick up a load in Georgia, I think, going to Brownsville, Texas. And that one paid pretty good as well. But it was just those 3 loads. Now, Brownsville, Texas is probably not a good place to be, but the exercise, is it a border town? I didn't really care about where I was going after Brownsville, because what was I saying? The exercise was just for 3 loads. So in reality, I probably wouldn't have taken a load to Brownsville, seeing that it's down here, it's a border town. But it's not too terribly far from Laredo. Where the hell is Laredo? Oh, there's Laredo. It said Nuevo Laredo. I guess that's the Mexico side of it. And I can always go back up to Corpus Christi or San Antonio. I'm sure there's freight down here in this area. I'm sure I'll be able to find something. I mean, it's a cross-border operation. It goes both ways. But yeah, that was orientation today. It was, I don't know. I didn't really care too much for today's orientation. I was really hoping we would go over some stuff like how to do the job, process and procedure type stuff. Like, I don't recall at any point us going through step by step how to like do a load. Like, you call the broker, you agree on the load, the broker assigns the load to you, and they email you a rate confirmation. And then, like, I don't really know what you do with the information at that point. You're supposed to keep a copy of the rate confirmation for yourself. Okay, with USA Truck, the ELD was integrated with everything. So whenever I had a load assigned to me, all of the information of that load was input into the ELD. And I think that's the way a lot of these companies are set up. Well, with Landstar, I don't know if that's the case. Am I going to have to manually enter the bill of lading number into the ELD whenever I pick up a load, and then remember to remove it out after I deliver the load? Or is that like handled behind the scenes somewhere? Like, I asked that question on Monday, and I was told that we would go over that, and we never went over that. Like, I have no idea what the process is to like haul a load with Landstar. I thought we would go, through that at some point, and we didn't. Basically, all I know is I call a broker, agree with them, and they assign it to me. I get a rate con in the email. I go over there and pick up the load. and I deliver the load, and then once the load's delivered, I can use multiple methods, whichever one I want. One of the easiest one is the TransFlow mobile app. Just take pictures of the bill of lading. It cost me $2 per trip or per load, not per page, to do that. But pretty much every method costs $2 per load to do, except for one that's $1 per load, but it's the biggest pain in the ass one to do. And it might not be the biggest pain in the ass. I'm getting really tired. I'm starting to struggle with staying on topic or remembering what I was saying. But yeah, you send in the bill of lading after the load is delivered and signed and all that stuff. You send it all in. Through whatever method. Whenever you send it in, that's what determines what pay period it's in. At USA Truck, it was whenever I hit the departed button, and then I had, several days to send in the bill of lading. At Landstar, whenever they receive the bill of lading, that is when it determines which paycheck it's going to be on. So, yeah, that's pretty much all I know of to run a load with Landstar. That's it. Just call the broker, agree on the load, they send the rate con, I run the load, and then I send I scan picture or take pictures of the bills of lading and send them off with TransFlow. That's it, done. I hope it's that easy. We have advisors assigned to us. All the new people get an advisor. They're assigned to an advisor that's supposed to help us out because, since we're new, we're going to need a lot of extra hand-holding. So we have advisors assigned to us for the first, I don't know how long. My advisor sent me a canned email earlier today with a list of crap I need to get done in the first couple of weeks. I have to watch a whole bunch of training videos and like all kinds of stuff. There's just like a ton of crap that I have to do. But I think I should end this video here because I'm so tired that I'm just going to start rambling and doing, crap. So let's just skim through the load board real quick. This is, I think, a 250-mile radius of Oklahoma City. Let's look at big rate per mile loads. Holy crap. Joplin to Kansas City, Missouri. Let's look at the details on this. Alright, got the details pulled up. What is this? This is trailer at the shipper, 24. Yeah, this is just, that's real. It's, but you have, this is the same shipper where you have to leave the trailer, you have to leave the trailer at the shipper for 24 hours to be loaded or unloaded. If you're making a delivery there or you're picking up from there, whichever it is, you have to leave the trailer for 24 hours. Let's switch back out over. All right, now we're on the load board again. So yeah, that's a real rate per mile. Joplin, Missouri to Shiloh, Illinois. Rochester, Minnesota. That might be a good place to be. Up there, you know, Minnesota and Wisconsin, pretty close to each other, and Wisconsin's been hot for me lately. But it's hazmat. Not a fan of that. Webb City, Missouri to Ames, Iowa. Man, there's a lot of good paying short loads. You know, little 300-mile loads paying $2 or $3 grand. Marlow, Oklahoma to Odessa, Texas. 40,000 pounds of hazmat. 1-day delivery. Marlow, Oklahoma to Odessa, Texas. Marlow must be down in like way west or southwest Oklahoma, because Odessa is way out in West Texas. Marlow might be in the Panhandle or something. It says it's only 62 miles from Oklahoma City. I thought it was further than that to Odessa. Who knows? There might be a whole bunch of freight going out of that Odessa Midland area. This is tempting me to go back into Pennsylvania, Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. That's I've delivered to Chewy.com there. Yeah, Joplin is just, there's a ton of good loads coming out of Joplin. I think that Joplin is going to be my new Spring Hill, Kansas. So I, you know, used to it with USA Truck. Every time I left my house, I was going to Spring Hill, Kansas, which is southwest Kansas City, and I was grabbing loads out of there. I think that with Landstar, I'm going to be driving over to Joplin, Missouri to pick up loads. I mean, this is just a good way to start the week with, you know, a nice big $5, $6 a mile load. Like this $5.71 a mile load, 30,000 pounds of general goods going up into Pennsylvania. And Pennsylvania is not a bad market on Landstar's load board. There are decent loads coming out of Pennsylvania. It's not, you know, the quagmire like it is on USA Truck's load board. Muskogee, Oklahoma to Jackson, Missouri. Where's Jackson, Missouri? Kind of out in the middle of nowhere. Oh, I'm so tired. Alright, I'm going to end this video. Oh, man. Oops, I clicked on details and I didn't switch over to the other thing. But luckily, it still covered up the agent's information, so I didn't have to delete this video. So I apologize for this video being kind of crap. But hopefully I'll be making better videos in the near future. because I won't be so tired, hopefully. And what's going on? What's holding me up from hauling a load of Landstar? Landstar requires hood mirrors. I ordered hood mirrors today. They're not going to be delivered until Sunday. And the shop at Big Rig Product, they don't have an opening to install the mirrors until Wednesday. So I can't go looking for an empty trailer until Wednesday. I can't technically move my truck while I'm under contract with Landstar. I can't drive my truck at all without hood mirrors, because hood mirrors, well, at least the passenger side hood mirror is a contractual obligation. If I move the truck at all without that hood mirror, then I have broken the terms of the agreement. So I can't go pick up an empty without a hood mirror or anything. So I can't even get, like, you're not supposed to contact trailer utilization and get on the trailer wait list until you're actually in a position where you can drive to pick up a trailer. So I can't even get on the wait list for trailer utilization until I get the hood mirrors fixed. So I'm hoping that Wednesday of next week I will be able to get on the wait list for a trailer. So I'm still probably going to be a couple of weeks away from hauling a load for Landstar. That sucks, but I'm not even going to try to think about all the things I need to do between now and then, but because I'm so tired, I'll figure out tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm going to put a list together of what I have to do, and then I'm going to start knocking that out as quickly as possible so that whenever I get the hood mirrors put on, I'm basically ready to roll. So anyway, thanks for watching. Have a good one. Bye.